I'm back because I'm gonna start this series. This series, guys. When I told y'all on social media I was catching the Holy Ghost from the devil. This is what I meant. What? Like, I'm gonna need to pause on everything. I got water over there. But I'm gonna need to pause. I'm gonna need to pause for the chords. Oh my goodness. Before I get into the meat, I gotta hit you with some flavor. Baby. Baby. Taking a back. Woof. Taken aback by this quote, and this quote only shall I start this series. Okay? Wait, but before I get there, let me just do a little introduction. Hi guys, I'm Elena Supreme. If you guys never seen my videos before, I do have videos like starting a spiritual path, about people who are moving away from religion. And as time progresses, as consciousness keeps, being unleashed to us, because we're part of an infinite society of intelligence. I tell you a little bit about myself, talk about why repenting doesn't work, and then this is me not saying that if you're a part of a religion, that whatever. I don't care. You do you, okay? More power to you. But and then I read this, and this quote is giving me so much life. Like, I couldn't have thought of a way to say this. I couldn't even, like, I am stumbling upon stumbling. I am, the profoundness of this quote is, okay. So if you guys have the book, it's on page 140, but I shall read it for you. Wait. Before I even get there, and then before I even touch that quote, God and the devil are state of consciousness. Okay? Two sides of the same coin. When they was coming for Job, the devil was like, what you want me to do, God? And God was like, yo, I'm gonna need you to sit here and bust his whole head open. Devil was like, I got you on that. And God was like, okay, heard you. If you ever read the story of Job, you know that the devil went to God and was like, so I dare you to tell me this boy ain't gonna flip, okay, if I go and do this. The devil asked permission from who? God. Who granted that? God. Moment of silence. Besides my neighbors, for setting the tone. You fear the devil and refuse to trust your God. Therefore, you have but one source available through which you may appropriate the benefit of universal power. And that is by trusting and using your own power of thought. What? I just threw the whole book, guys. Like, I threw it. Like, that is so profound. Like, I play that back. play it back, because I need you to hear it. I need you to hear it. The sermons is about trusting who and fearing what. But you know, I'm over here catching the Holy Ghost from what? From who? The interview with who? The devil. Was shananana. What? I was speaking in tongues. What? What? What you mean? Ah. Okay. All right. Okay. I shall continue this about the devil, because he's become my favorite character of all time. My favorite. He was one of the best angel of all time. So why not learn from one of the best? And especially after that quote, it's like, yo, bro, what? What you? Huh? You're right. When you go to church, what do you learn? How to fear the devil and trust God. I'm sorry, this is what you're told. But when you're at home living your 9 to 5 life, what do? You trust nothing. So what does that leave you with? What options do you have? You. I've even made a thought. If in the Bible it says God is within you. So how do you get to know God if you don't know about yourself? Who you really gotta learn to get to God? Because if you're gonna learn the Bible, people be all darn right evil learning the Bible. The Bible can be interpreted and misconstrued in 1,000 different ways. Something as holy and fixed shouldn't be able to do that. Just saying. So now back to regular programs. Okay. So before I get into the juicy juice about what is a drifter or a non-drifter, you guys will get to learn these terms on another video when I start breaking down and getting into things like hypnotic rhythm and all this awesome juicy things. Before you get to know one's dominating desires can be crystallized into physical equivalents through definitive purpose, backed by definitive plans, with aid of hypnotic rhythm and time. Before we get to understand what all of that means, I shall show you who the devil is. Shall we? Let's go on a journey together. Scroll through the fiery depths of hell. And let's drift to hell together. On page 84, let me scroll through my book. Okay. Ha ha ha. Sorry, y'all. I'm like holding my phone, so I don't have it by my vanity at the moment, so I'm just darn right peachy. I hope you guys like my face. You know. So, actually, before I even get to drift to hell with you, let me also back this by some more church. So on page 125, listen to this and consider all things that I say. If the churches should stop talking about me, my cause would receive a severe setback. Every attack made against me fixes the fear of me in the minds of all who are influenced by it. You see, opposition is the thing that keeps some people from drifting, providing that they do not yield to it. So anything that you focus on grows. We understand that. So for example, if you can't stand somebody You keep thinking about and stand them. That's not how you get away from them, because you keep bumping heads with them because you keep thinking about them. If you stop thinking about them, let's say you actually start to define who it is that you want to be and start unbecoming who you never were, you'll realize that person gets further and further away. I actually really do live by that testimony for years. And I moved away from them. And, you know, while I was there, not only was I soft, but I was also upset. Okay, I was upset. I was like, how could you sit here and do all of that to me? Like, I'm like 5 years old doing the baby the baby thing from Kevin Hart. That stand-up comedy, Laugh at My Pain, is absolutely one of my favorites. But Juice. If you guys get that reference, that's cool. So yeah, I couldn't stand the person. I was like, yo, I never want to be anything like her, blah, 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 blah. And before I understood what it was like to observe thyself, the person that was observing me said, you can't stand them, but you're exactly like them. And that crushed my soul. I was like, what do I do? Who am I? But it took me some time, but I've arrived. Yes. So yes. So I must say that. So let me get back to drifting to hell. Like I said, let's grab each other's hands, you know. I smell of sweet pea and Japanese blossoms and a little bit of oud. So if that helps on the pleasurable ride to hell, let us go. I want you to visualize it all. So nothing can stop me from controlling people except people themselves, says the devil. Okay? So go ahead and tell me the methods in which you drift people to hell with you. I'm just going to read the entire dialogue from Marriage to Thoughts. I cause men and women to drift into marriage without plan or purpose, designed to convert the relationship into harmony. Here is one of the most effective methods of converting people into the habit of drifting. I cause married people to bicker and nag one another over money matters. I cause people to quarrel over the bringing up of their children. I engage them in unpleasant controversies over their intimate relationships and in disagreement over friends and social activities. I keep them so busy finding fault with one another that they never have time to do anything else long enough to break the habit of drifting. How many of you are in situations where you just don't understand and you're just engrossed in that situation? You are in a drift, bloody hands wrapped all over your hearts. But you do have the power to unleash yourself. When Kurt Franklin says, free the chains, or whatever the song goes, I vaguely remember it. From these chains, it's not you. Sure, my fellow Christians know it. You had that power, my dears. You do. You harness all of it. You can free yourself from them chains, girl or guy, whatever, whoever's watching, whoever thou art. You are a powerful mystic being. Okay. Okay. Shall I continue? Occupation. One moment. Sorry. Occupation would have become causing them to drift out of school into the first job with no definite aim or purpose except to make a living. Through this trick, I keep millions of people in the fear of poverty all their lives. Through this fear, I lead them slowly but surely onward until they reach the point of beyond no individual ever has broken the drifting habit. Should I even elaborate with that? Like, I feel like, love has definitely been my focal point at the moment, but the occupation, that is one of another. I'll probably get into that later on in my life. But as for today, love is my forte. Don't know when it started. Savings. I can cause people to spend freely and save sparingly or not at all until I take complete control of them and their fear of poverty. Do you really need it? Do you really need it? Is that going to help you? Are you investing in yourself, or are you just, oh my God, pleasure? Just pleasure. Consider all things. I think that's also in the Bible. Okay. Environment. I cause people to drift into inharmonious and unpleasant environments in the home, in their places of occupation, in their relationship with relatives and acquaintance, and to remain there until I claim them through the habit of drifting. My friend, shall I say it again? I couldn't stand the person that I once lived with until, I wished them away, because that's who I am. I wish things into existence, and I take them away sometimes. I don't want it anymore. Anyway, so yeah. And now I live in a very mostly harmonious environment. I live with people that see things ideally the same as I. Maybe not completely, but having that type of differences is great for my development rather than insanity, fear of poverty, and distrust. I trust everyone that I do live with, and it's a beautiful feeling, and it's so fulfilling, and I'm happy to be home. Okay, I'm sorry, I'm about to cry. Okay, shall I? I lost my page. Sorry, guys. Where was I? I was drifting to hell with you guys. Hold on. It's a beautiful place. Okay. Dominating thoughts. I cause people to drift into a habit of thinking negative thoughts. This leads to negative acts and involves people in controversies and fills their mind with fears, thus paving the way for me to enter and control their minds. When I move in, I do so by appealing to people through negative thoughts, which they believe to be their own. I know that's in one of the Bibles. It's either in the Quran or in the Bible. I didn't read the Torah. But between those two, I know that's definitely in there. Nuggets to the scriptures. I plant the seed of negative thought, people, the newspaper, the moving printers, the radio, and all popular methods to appeal to the mind. I cause people to allow me to do their thinking for them because they are too lazy, too indifferent to think for themselves. Might I mention, this was written in the 30s. Where are we? Fake news. Quote by Donald J. Trump himself. Any habit which causes one to procrastinate, to put off reaching a definite decision, leads the habit of drifting. Okay? Laziness plus indifference equals procrastination, which equals drifting. But I shall leave drifting to another time. Right now, I just want to focus on the devil himself and his. In the book, they call him My Majesty because he has so much control over a large population of people. Now, how many things can you think of that has been happening? Okay, 30s. Let's just go back to the 30s. He appoints all terrible events. He's the orchestrator of tragedy. Okay? My type. He's done it through Mussolini in Italy, Hitler in Germany, Stalin in Russia. Okay, but the difference is that his appointed drifters, I'm sorry, principalities do no drifting, do of none. Okay, they are masters of that craft. Just for the time's sake, let's see. This came back out in, I keep thinking of 1929 for such a reason, but it's 2019. Just want to connect the numbers, connect the dots. We're bridging into 2020 soon, whatever, round it up. Okay, so mainly through the, let me read the question. Through whom are you carrying on your work? Devil. Mainly through the president. I am destroying his influence with the people by causing him to drift on the questions of a working agreement between employers and their employees. If I can induce him to drift for another year, he will be so thoroughly discredited I can hand over the country to a dictator. If the president continues to drift, I will paralyze personal freedom in the United States, just as I destroyed it in Spain, Italy, Germany, and England. Drifting is the most common cause of failure in every walk of life. I can control anyone who I can induce to form the habit of drifting on any subject. The reason is this, twofold. First, the drifter is just so much putty in my hands to be molded into whatever pattern I choose, because drifting destroys the power of individual initiation. Second, the drifter cannot get help from my opposition because the opposition is not attracted to anything so soft and useless. You ever been too nice and then things just fail and fail and fail and fail and fail? I don't think that being definite in your purpose is necessarily mean me. But like I said on my IG, if you guys are following me, which I have to change my settings, sorry, it's _SUPRE_me. Now, but if you guys would stop being mean to yourself by being definite in your purpose, then life would just stop being mean to you. So let me see if there's anything else about the devil I'd like to tell you about before I depart. Let's see. Devil's a very interesting character, I'll tell you that. Yes, it is. One more thing for the church, might I say. My accents are terrible. Don't mind it. I'm just passionate. Wait. Okay, yeah, no, okay. If the child's religious instructor expresses any form of fear of me, oh my God, wait, I have to say this. Okay. In the KRS-One lecture, he talks about the teacher. Okay, if you have a teacher, a math teacher, say you have a math teacher, but he's a murderer. He's going to teach you how to murder those numbers, because you learn the character as well as the skill. So the teachers that are in our society are very important for us to analyze their character, for the simple fact that you're going to pick up on more than the skill. It's the way how they teach. It's the way they move. Okay? The way they move, the way they articulate their words. We learn to imitate everything as we go to school, because that is what we're taught to do. We're taught to memorize. We're taught to learn the way they are teaching it so that we can become them or greater, might I say. So that is our first fixed habit, and which is why it's very important to unbecome everything you ever thought you were and become who you never were. Enlightenment is not about becoming who you really are, but unbecoming who you never were, to be correct. Okay. If a child's religious instructor expresses any form of fear of me, wait, I keep reading that and then more stuff keeps coming. Okay. When we are raised by our parents, we not only take on their good traits, we take on their fears, we take on everything. You'll learn that in spiritual teaching when you start to unbecome who you never were, when you start to really see the fact that you came here for a certain purpose. And if nobody else that you've ever known was here, why would you be here? When you start to like really dig deep into that question, I remember a very, very, very intense point in my life where I started to dig deep into that, which was like not too long ago. I came up here 2 years ago. Yeah. Well, I came up here with these things. I may have not talked about it because I haven't experienced enough, but you take on their fears, you take on everything. Everything. So it's very important who you learn from as much as what you learn. Okay? Let me see if I can get through this quote before having a spasm of, oh my gosh, this one. Okay. If the child's religious instructor expresses any form of fear of me, and they all do in the form of in one form or another, that fear is added to the similar fear passed to the child by its parents, and two forms of negative limitations are stored away in the subconscious mind to be drawn upon and used by me later. I must say that is something that when I listened to that, I felt that right, like, you know, when something feels amazing and it like hits you in the brain, it's like this electric spasm goes through your body and a chill travels down your spine. Yeah, that's what happened. And now when I see it, I can okay, I think I'm back. That when it's time and I identify that fear, I know where it's from and why it's here. And I understand that it was generations and generations and generations. After all, I am a Black woman, and it is History Month for Black people. So the fears that passed on from my ancestors whether that came from the native tribes, or if that came from Africa, or if that came from the plantations. Understand that all of that was passed on and bestowed upon me into my present day relatives, whether it be slight or great. And I must learn to unlearn and unbecome who I never was, and live this life truly with no limitations and with definite purpose. But like I knew later on, because this is definitely new. Okay. Um, you know, I'm gonna leave it at that. This book. My next vlog will definitely be about definite a purpose, because I dragged you guys into hell, and yes, I have great sense with me, but that's only because you must be crystallized, and in order to become crystallized, you must go down to the black phase. Pressure must be put upon you. So that is what I'm describing to you. The pressure, put pressure on you. Oh, I didn't even get into education. I'm gonna leave that later. I start with the church, okay, and then I'll come back. But it's just, this book is so profound that I'm lost for words, but I feel that I have all of them at the same time. You know, now let me just tell you guys, where does the devil live in closing? Page 99. Shall we? Okay. I'm going to read the question, and I'm going to read the beloved majesty, the devil's answer. I'm going to ask you the question, and you're going to I'm asking the questions, and you are doing the answering. Go ahead now and confess why you are powerless to stop me from forcing the confessions from you. I want your confession for aid and comfort to victims of yours, whom I intend to release from the control the moment they read your confessions. Ready for your exorcisms? Let's go, buddies! And the majesty reads, I am powerless to influence or control you, because you have found the secret approach to my kingdom. You know that I exist only in the minds of people who have fears. You know that I control only the drifters who neglect to use their own minds. You know that my hell is here on earth and not the world. Wait, hold on. Sorry. For me. Freaking out. Shimon. Okay. You know that my hell is here on earth and not the world that comes after death. You know that drifters supply all the fire I use in my hell. You know that I am a principle or form of energy that expresses the negative side of matter and energy, and that I am not a person with a forked tongue or spiked tail. You have become my master because you have mastered all your fears. Lastly, you know that you can release all my earthbound victims, whom you contact, and the definite knowledge is the blow with which you... Interruption part 1000. I have returned. I cannot control you because you have discovered your own mind and you have taken charge of it. There now, Mr. Earthbound, the confession should feed your vanity to its bursting point. Poof, poof. And be gone, demon. And all jokes aside, I am ecstatic to sit here and reread this again with you guys and break it down. And now that we have drifted to hell together, it must come to a closing. And I shall show you the way out. Through the book with me shall we travel into infinite of possibilities. Infinite knowledge shall come our way. And shall we breathe in that good ass prana. And may our lives be plentiful and abundant.